Alright, welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while since I posted the last video, but I wanted to come on here and say that I finished my project management class. I believe that's C722. And kind of talk about my experience with that class. So I think I started this class probably about 3 weeks ago, and right off the bat, I'll just say that it's probably the most difficult class I've taken so far, with a lot of good information. I feel like I probably say that about every class, but as far as applicability to my day job, it's very applicable. I will say, even though I started this class about 3 weeks ago, I did probably the majority of my studying in one day. I do have a little bit of project management experience in that I've heard a lot of these terms before at work, and I've seen the project management process in play, so I guess that helped me a little bit in this class. However, it didn't give me a lot of confidence going into the class, just because I didn't have a lot of direct experience, like first-hand experience. Anyways, I'll link to a video that's about 50 minutes long that I found it very useful, which kind of gave a big overview of the PMP, Project Management Institute's PMP certification, and the person who made that video did a really good job of kind of explaining at a very basic level a lot of what goes into the PMP certification, which is very applicable to this class, obviously, because this class is based off of the PMP, not necessarily preparing you to take your PMP certification, because I do not believe that if you take this class and you study it very well, you will be able to get the PMP, and I don't think that's much of a crazy thing to say. I don't think anyone believes that, not even the course instructors, but it is a very good video that applies to this class. However, the instructor didn't make it specifically for this class. Sorry, the video creator didn't make it specifically for this class. It ties in very well. Anyways, I'm just going to kind of go over what I found to be useful and where I focus my areas of study and how I was able to pass C722. I was trying to advance through this class kind of as fast as I could, because I didn't have a lot of time to work on it in the past 3 weeks. So I was looking for a lot of videos and Quizlets, but I kind of just decided the day that I took my test that I was just going to read the course material from cover to cover and watch the videos that I thought were relevant. So I read every single page of this course material, and I found that to be extremely useful. I will say, though, if you're here and you're just wanting to accelerate through this course, I would probably go to probably a subreddit, read about what people suggest, brush up on important concepts, and then take the pre-assessment to see where you're at. I will say, while I can't talk about what was in the pre-assessment or the objective assessment, that if you read through the course material, or even just important concepts in the course material, and you take the pre-assessment, then you can probably study that pre-assessment and then just take the objective assessment. My pre-assessment and objective assessment were very similar. I guess that's all I can really say about that, but if you do well on the pre-assessment, you will probably do well on the objective assessment. They're not different like in other classes that I've had in the past. Anyways, some of the important concepts that I think you should know and study are organizational structures. So the differences between the functional organizational structure, otherwise known as departmentalized structure, what the projectized structure is, and what a matrix structure is, and how they apply, and in which scenarios you would determine which organizational structure is which. You're also going to want to be familiar with maturity levels. So you're going to want to understand the 5 levels of project management maturity. You're going to understand what OPM3 is, so the Organizational Project Management Maturity Model, and which levels correlate to their specific words. So like level 1 is ad hoc, level 2 is planned, level 3 is managed, level 4 is integrated, level 5 is sustained. So you're going to want to understand what ad hoc means. So if your organization is a level 1 ad hoc, what does that mean? So to get down to it, it's just like there are no formal standards in your organization. And I'm running on a little bit of sleep here, so I apologize if my words are a little bit not there yet. So those are some pretty important concepts. Here you're also going to want to understand, to kind of continue on from maturity levels, the capability maturity model, which is CMM, and capability maturity model implementation, CMMI, and which agencies or organizations use those. So federal government would be an example of an organization that uses CMM and CMMI, and then there are 5 levels. So level 1 is initial, level 2 is managed, level 3 is defined, level 4 is quantitatively managed, and level 5 is optimizing. So project management methods are also pretty useful. I would say for these, study the project management methods, but more importantly, what I think pertains more to the assessments is probably just understanding the definitions. So what PERT means, what CPM means, what PRINCE2 means, since they're all like acronyms. So PERT is Project Evaluation and Review Technique, which is used by the Navy. CPM is Critical Path Method. PRINCE2 is Projects in Controlled Environments. And that's where specificity is very important to that project management method. Okay, so then this is really important, the 5 steps to managing a project. So you have initiating, then you have defining, creating, identifying, documenting, evaluating, and completing. What you're going to really want to focus on is the iterative processes. You're going to be asked probably about an iterative process and what that is, and which steps are in the iterative, which steps are considered iterative processes. So in those 5 steps, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling is 1, are all iterative processes, and those are processes which are repeated. So kind of constant and repeated. That's what an iterative process is. Let's see. Oh, risk. Risk is also pretty important. What different types of risk are. So like what a risk appetite is versus a risk tolerance versus the risk threshold. I'll just kind of talk about them because you might not be able to read them, but risk appetite is the degree of uncertainty an entity is willing to take on in anticipation of a reward. Risk tolerance is the degree, volume, or amount of risk that an organization or an individual is willing to withstand. And then the risk threshold is measurements along the level of uncertainty or level of impact at which a stakeholder may have a specific interest. Below the threshold, the org will accept the risk, and above the threshold, the org will not tolerate the risk. Yes. You're also going to want to be familiar with categories of change. That's scope, contingency, improvement, and external events. Let's see. Oh, formulas. What I will say is that you're going to probably need to memorize the formula for cost variance and schedule variance. So you'll find those in the book, but I kind of wrote them down here. I don't know if you can really see it that well. But most importantly here, I would say, is understanding when you would use each formula. So you might not have to remember like CPI and SPI formula, so cost performance index versus schedule performance index, but you're going to want to understand when you would need to use those and what they're measuring. The same with percent complete index with percent complete index cost, so PCIB versus PCIC. You're not going to need to remember them, I don't think. Also, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, but you need to understand what those are measuring and what AC is, what EV is, all those things. But let's see, do I have anything else? I would say, like I said, go, even if you're just going to skim through all of the course material, I would say just do that first and then understand what the most important concepts are in each of the modules and units are. But also make sure that you are really paying attention to the things that I brought up here. And like I said, if you take the pre-assessment and you do well on it, in my experience, that directly translates to how you will do on the objective assessment. Hopefully this video was useful. Like I said, this class probably took me the longest, but at the end of the day, what I decided to do is just read from cover to cover all the material, and that took me about a full day of studying, so maybe like 10 hours or 8 hours. But I will say that I had done studying before that as well. Like I said, in the past 3 weeks I've done reading here and there, but I decided at the end of the day it was just more beneficial for me to read everything and watch the LinkedIn learning videos that were also in the course material. Anyways, I hope that was kind of useful. Hopefully you can see my notes well enough that you can probably just like pause the video and jot them down, but yeah, hopefully this is helpful. I'll link to that 50-minute video, which I think is extremely helpful, and then I will also just recommend that you at least read the important concepts from the book, and then take all the quizzes. I took all the quizzes in the course material, and I found those extremely helpful. So just to leave it off, understanding formulas is more important than memorizing the formulas. So understanding why you would use them, and also remember acronyms for project management methods, and I think you'll be pretty good there. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or something and I'll try and get to those. But yeah, on to the next class for me, and good luck if you're going to be taking this test anytime soon. Alright, until next time, bye.